Okay, so yesterday we talked about the roles that we have seen yesterday. Meaning, we have gone through one of the documentation related to the roles creation, and we have discussed about the theoretical part. Now let's do the practical part about it, which is the hands-on. And so, what we have done yesterday is, um, let me put it this way. Okay, yeah. Okay, so let me close this. Okay, so what I'll do is, hey Naveen, hey Sharanya, let me do one thing here. Where is mine? Okay, okay, looks like this. So, thing is, we have written a Ansible ad hoc commands. From Ansible ad hoc commands, we have written something called Ansible playbook. From an Ansible playbook, we have seen um, Ansible rows. This is what we are doing. Like ad hoc commands means how to execute a normal Ansible modules and all. And then we have written an Ansible playbook which contains a multiple task. Now we'll do the same thing with the Ansible roles itself. The need is, if we have the need from moving from from ad hoc to playbook to the roles, right? For example, if we have a single task with a single module, we can use ad hoc commands for a very short time period. But if we have a multiple tasks and if we want to use a multiple modules and want to communicate between those modules, right, then you would be writing a playbook. Okay, for a different task. But at the same time, whatever the task or whatever the modules, whatever the functionality that you have written, if that same functionality used by the someone, then you start creating a roles. And then once you create a role and then publish it, then others able to easily use it. That is the main purpose of writing a roles also here. Okay, the reusability of purpose. Okay, now let's do the same thing here. So now let me, yesterday we have seen a couple of documents here. So what this guy is doing is, of course, our DigitalOcean has always been proper in terms of writing the documentation part. Now we'll also follow this guy tutorial for small thing, but you can easily understand this guy. So what he is doing is, he has shown a way. We will take an example of this guy, and then we will apply the same, we will follow the similar pattern but with a few modification based on our infrastructure. Okay, so he has shown us, he has a one playbook, then he convert that playbook into a role. So that's how he has done it. Okay, so yesterday we have seen, okay, let me start my this one, uh this one. Just a 1 minute, guys. Okay, guys, let me join back in a minute. So I'll be joining back again. Now let me share. Now let me share this. Okay, here are our VMs. Okay. So what we do is, here are our VMs. Let me start. This is my managed or control node of Ansible, and this is one of my remote mission. Yeah. So now let's make this to be up, and then we will follow the similar thing. Yeah. Here, this is what we have referred yesterday. Okay. So right, what I'll do is, even though I have created a role in my controller node, in order to write a code for that, what I was doing is, I'm gonna copy that role source code. Basically, it's all our empty folder only. If you remember, when we create a role using Ansible Galaxy hyphen create a role, so it has created a some set of folders and files, right? Now I'll copy that to my local machine so I can edit in the Visual Studio Editor for the better writing and better coding it. Okay. So what I'll do is now this is what we have done yesterday for creation of this thing. Now let's see what is the status of my missions here. Okay. Okay, let it come back. This is my remote mission. It's automatically got mm, okay, the IP address of the my mission is 100.3.103. But in case of my controller node, it got stuck. Let me restart it. There is a problem generally would happen, which I understand or which I observed is when you cloned mission. I mean, when you cloned a one mission, and if you are starting those two missions, which is a source of that cloned mission and again the cloned mission. What is happening is it is having a problem of loading a kernel itself. So this is what I've just seen. I mean, you guys have also seen this. So one thing is, so the solution for this, we shouldn't start the cloned mission and as well as the source of the cloned mission at the same time, because it is trying to load, maybe I don't know, but there is no make sense because it's already cloned on two independent things, because there is no, if we do the shallow clone or linked clone, right? If it is a linked clone, then it is having a relation between the two VMs. But I'm pretty much sure I have done a shallow clone, not the linked clone. When you say linked clone, these two will still able to communicate each other if you do that. But we are not doing it. I mean, I have not done the linked clone. I've used the shallow clone. Okay. Okay, but let's see. Okay. Okay, cool. So this is my username and password, and here is my IP address. IP address is 101 this time. Okay. So now what I'll do is I'll open the remote PowerShell and then 101. Since I'll be logging to the 101 because that is my controller node. So this is what it has happened. And now what I'll do is Ansible learning here, and my role is Apache yesterday. This is the role which we have created yesterday and which has some of the default folders. Okay. So now what I'll do is either you can copy the entire folder to my local machine and then open in the editor. Okay. Or else what I'll do is I'll just create a folder structure here itself, because I'm not we'll just copy and paste it and nothing as it is. So what I'll do is I'll just do one thing here. This folder Ansible learning. Okay, this is my folder. And now in this one, I'm gonna create similar structure. Of course, we don't require, we can, because I want to use a Visual Studio Editor while configuring or while writing roles That's why I'm just doing it. At the end of the day, what I'll do is I'll copy this. Okay, Ansible roles. Okay, in this Ansible role, I'm gonna create a we'll go, let's go to the structure here, or where is this here? Okay, so this is what in the Apache. First I'll create Apache folder. Under the Apache folder I'll be creating a 5 or 6 subfolders, and then we'll start again. Okay, so this is, I'll be creating a folder called Apache. Under the Apache I'll be creating another folder called, what is that? Defaults. No, I'll go to the task. This is a main folder we should be creating it out. Okay, so tasks folder contains a main list of tasks that need to be executed here. Okay, so generally this is the a playbook, and we are converting this playbook into a role by dividing a tasks and handlers of files and different things. Okay, so same thing we are doing, I mean the same thing we are doing here. So what we do is, in the tasks folder there is a main.yaml. In the main.yaml he is having a list of tasks here. Okay, this is what this guy has done it. Okay, now let's do the same thing here itself. In the Apache there is a file called tasks.yaml, and the path should be tasks slash main.yaml, as basically main.yaml. Okay, so in the main.yaml we are going to have a, first let's create a folder structure here itself. Okay, in the here itself we should have a defaults. Slash main.yaml. Okay, and then under Apache we should have a file folder, and we should have a files slash main.yaml. Okay, it should be something like rename it .yaml. What else? Meta. Under the meta we should have something called mm, meta slash main.yaml. Okay, and we should have a templates, we should have a test, we should have a batch. Was slash main.yaml, and uh, what else? Um, Handlers, HANDE slash main.yaml. Okay, so yeah. So this is the default folder structures we will be having in terms of while creating a role itself. Okay, so the point is we don't need to create all this manually. Why I have created is I'm running my code inside a virtual machine, and I want to write a code. I mean, I want to execute that in a remote machine. For that I can't directly write the code without any editor. Of course you can do, but it is very hectic process. So I'm just using my Visual Studio to do that. So I'm just mimicking the same folder structure here. Okay, now let's come to the tasks folder, which contains a main.yaml. Okay, in this code there are some tasks which is nothing but, I'll explain you everything in a details right now. So what is happening here? There are multiple tasks. Okay, one task name is install http.package. So which is nothing but it's installing a Apache 2 server basically. That is on the yum. Yum means uh, it is a one of the package manager for the Red Hat related RHL related. But in our case, meaning in our case we are using a Ubuntu. The package manager for this is APT. Okay, and the name of that server is Apache 2. And if it is a I mean, if it is RHL, the name of that particular server is HTTPD. And here we are installing the latest. This is a task. Once you have done it, what is happening here is that it seems to be data slash HTTPD slash original. I guess the path will be different for this guy, meaning HTTP configuration apache2.conf file here. Apache2.conf file. Yeah, this is all HTTPD conf, I mean Apache conf file. We can copy and paste this. That is fine here. And so what this task is all about is he is copying a configuration file which is in from this, okay, from this to this one, okay, and after that he is also copying one of the index.html file to from this to this one, and finally he is notifying one of the handler. Currently we shouldn't have that. Where is this guy? Yeah, um, and he see, and this is what he has done. And one more thing is he has just created another sub files in it. So currently what he has done is he has created a tasks for each steps, right? Three tasks here. Instead of having the three tasks directly, what he has done is he created a separate main dot, I mean, a separate YAML file for this. He created a separate YAML file this. He created a separate YAML file this. That is what. And finally, he imported the tasks. We don't require of that particularly. See this in the install.yaml file. What he has done is he just mentioned, he created under the tasks itself, he created an install.yaml and he copied the first task itself. And similarly, he copied the configurations of the HTTP file. And finally, he has what he has given is for the restarting a server, he's just kept under the another file called service.yaml. Finally, he has imported those three into a main.yaml. Okay, so here we don't require of this guy, so we can follow based on our own thing only here. Okay, so what I can do is I will just go with the same one main.yaml, and we don't make complex to make understand for us. So let's go with the basic one first, then we can try to do that part. Okay, now the point is, now let's once he has done it, he is going, I mean, he is gone to the files folder. What does it mean is here the files, right? There is something called main.yaml. And if you go to the task again, there are two files which you are copying from this to this one. One is the http.original and index.html. These are the two files he has been handling. If in our project or in your role, if you are handling any files, you should be using a files folder. Of course, it does not mandatory, but the files folder, the intention of files folder as creation is meant for that only. Okay, since we are handling two files related to the configuration of Apache or HTTPD, we need to make sure these files to be presented under the files and reading from there. This guy has done the same thing here. Okay, so he just displayed the index.html and which contains only the basic one. Okay, so what I can do is I'll make sure where is the, what I'll do is I'll create a file index.html and hi, this is from Ansible role deployment. Okay, this is the content which contains. What is the dependency of another one? http.original. Actually, what we should be doing is our file is not a original thing. I mean, our thing should be this one. I'll copy this because http.conf file is the content which will have this. Okay, under the files folder, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create Apache 2.conf file here, and this is the one, and here, okay, and the path of the httpd conf is not this one. If it is a httpd, this is the conf, but in our case it is Apache 2, right? Apache 2 is a different path. Apache 2 conf file path. Actually, we don't require because by default when you install it will have a one httpd conf file. So this is the path of our httpd conf. I mean, yeah, I think it's the same, right? No, it's different. Okay, this is the one. And anyway, what I'll do is I'll make sure I don't override of it. Okay, this is the one guy. And now let's see what this guy is doing here. Okay, he has done it. And then see now what he has done. Okay, if you see here the task slash configure, okay, he is loading from the file. So in our case we should be doing the same thing here. Files slash our file is apache 2.conf file, apache 2 aph2 .conf file, and this is the destination where it has to copy, and another one is the index.html. This is also load from the files. Okay, files, and this is the path it has to copy. Okay, now looks good. What we have done is we are done with the mains under the task.main.yaml, and this is the contents, and he has divided into three separate tasks in three separate files, but I'm not going to do that. Let's go with the default one. And here what we have done is next we just copied. I mean, we make sure our files, our things will have these things. Okay, yeah, http conf file index.html. Now let's go to the handlers. In the handlers, there is a file called main.yaml. Under the main.yaml, you just make sure you should have this one. Okay, meaning notify part here itself. Okay, so just where is main.yaml? Yeah, this is the one, not the defaults folder. And where is it? Yeah, this is not also a files folder, and this is the handlers. Under the handlers, this is my main thing. Okay, here my name is Apache 2, not httpd do. Okay, so restarted. So whenever it is required, whenever it is got notified, it will restart that. Okay, now let me check back here in the services folder. Build started enabled, yes. Make sure this is also using this property here. Okay, so this is what we have done here. Now in the handlers, okay, so we have just done this part. Now in the metadata, in the meta.main.yaml, he's just having some kind of a license information. It's our kind of a Redmi kind of thing. Now we are mostly done with that part. Okay. Now let's do the thing here. Now let's this guy has created a directly thing. We'll also follow the same thing, meaning he has done all the configuration of a role. Now he is need to write a playbook, which is nothing but a how to use this Apache role. That is what we are going to write it. But before doing that, let's make changes in our actual directories here itself. Okay. Under the Ansible, okay, cd Apache 2, right? Okay. Here is our code done. Okay. Now what we'll do is let's check each and every folder what we have done, and then we do replicate the same thing here. Okay. Now let's go to the defaults folder main.yaml, right? Okay. There is nothing here. Now I'll close everything. Close all, right. In the defaults.main.yaml, there is nothing. So I'm not going to go change the defaults.yaml. And next one is the files.conf file. Okay. Now what I'll do is the file folder should, I mean, the files folder should contain a two dependency files, which is Apache 2.conf file and index.html. So in the files folder, I'm going to create files Apache 2 dot, of course, I have given a wrong config, I mean, the wrong file name here. I mean, correct file name here. So this is the content it should have. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to save this. And another thing is files index.html. This is another file it should contain. Let's open this. And then this is the one. And we are done. Now let's get changed in the handlers part. In the handlers part, there is something called main.yaml. Now handlers main.yaml, and here we'll just make sure this is the task we have in the handlers one. What is the next here? Next is meta. In the meta, there is nothing in the main.yaml, and the next one is a main.yaml under the tasks folder. Now what I'll do is we don't require of all this nano slash tasks folder main.yaml, and here, okay, today we have done this, is it? Okay, that's fine. We can conclude this. I mean, we can add the similar one, or we can remove this also here. And Apache 2, the source is Apache 2 here. And we don't require to notify this also here. Okay. So I'm gonna remove these parts. Okay, these are my, okay, looks like we need to delete these also here. Okay, this is my main.yaml under the tasks folder. Now let's check the vars folder. In the vars folder, we don't have anything. So now our playbook is ready. I mean, sorry, now our Ansible is ready. Now let's write a playbook which tells how to use this role itself. Okay. Now for that, let's go. Let's see what this guy has done. He has created a file which is nothing but a playbook, or yeah, it should be a playbook. And he just mentioned what host it is required and what roles he is using. That's it. Simply nothing else apart from that. Okay, now let's do the same thing here itself in this one. So now I'm gonna do a playbook Apache 2 playbook.yaml, and in the YAML I'm gonna create this one, which is nothing but we just defined the host and Apache 2 folder itself. Okay, the host is remote one, and roles is Apache. Okay, I think our thing is also Apache. Our role name is also Apache here. Let's see the content of this guy and see here. Okay, now before executing it, first let's check any syntax errors are there in this one or not. For that, there is a specific command, Ansible playbook, and your playbook name. You just need to pass parameters called -- syntax check. Okay, so now let's do the same thing. Ansible playbook and Apache 2 playbook and -- syntax check. Let's see if there are any errors in the syntax. Yes, there are errors. And where is this error? Here, the error seems to be Ansible your playbook, line number 3, column number 9, but it may be elsewhere in the same thing. Now, let's open this and then try to understand. Line number 3, right? Host Rails Apache 2. What is that? Line number 3, column number 9. Line number 1, 2, 3. In the nano editor, if you want to know where you are, so you can say where is, not like where is, current position. For the current position, I think Control C. Control C is telling you, okay, right here. Here is the one. What it is saying is a role something this. Now let's take. See this guy, var stars and everything. Host remote one rows. He has just mentioned it, right? Now let's see. I should be using something called this one. Now let's check the syntax part of it. Okay, now playbook does not have any syntaxes error. Okay, the indentation we missed here. Earlier, the roles is not part of a sub host property. Roles is a parallel property to the host. Okay, earlier we have corrected this one. Okay, now we are good. Now before executing it, since we have mentioned remote one as a host, right? Now let's open our host file. Okay, so we can find which mission it has to execute. Remote mission has 103, right? Now let's check what is our cloned mission. Yeah, so ours is 103. Yeah, ours is 103. And let's check whether do we have Apache 2 installed or not. Systemctl status Apache 2. I think yes, it is already running, right? So what I'm gonna do is to make sure this. Okay, anyway, we will try and then we will fail it. Okay. Now let's execute this part. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna become yes, become become pass become become pass. I think this is also, this is one. Okay, I think become user. What else? Does not imply the password itself. Okay, become password, become ask the world. Okay, let me do one thing here. Why should I need to be care about this part? I'll just do display. Yeah. So become ask become pass. Become. Okay, right. Okay, and there is my thing, and it is executing the playbook on the remote, and it is just doing this, and it is installing the package of HTTPD and copying the file. See this one got okay. Okay means it found that already Apache 2 is already installed in this machine, so I'm not going to do that because it's already been a expected state. So I'm doing okay. And remaining two tasks, it got changed. Change means the actual task has been executed, which is nothing but a copying the Apache 2 file as well as the index.html file. Okay, this is what it has happened. Totally it is executed the four tasks and all are okay. When you say changed means the task status comes changed means it went through okay, then from okay to changed one. That's why it is also counts under the Apache 2 here. Okay, now this is what the information is. Now what I'll do is, now let's check. It was started 26 minutes ago, right? Now let's see 29 minutes. Now what I'll do is I'll just remove this part only. Okay, apt apt get remove Apache 2. Okay, I'm gonna uninstall this and then rerun this part. Okay, so let's see what it has been happening here. Okay, it is going to remove this. This is my remote mission, which is 103 part. That's I'm doing a manually part of here on. Okay, so now once I've done, I'll rerun this playbook again and then see. Now first I'll let me check the status here. It is inactive and it was, and I mean, of course, since we have I think prune, let's do the prune here. Purge, not prune. Purge Apache 2. What does it is? It will remove all the unnecessary or unused files or folders or configuration files related to the Apache 2. So it will delete all the files itself. Okay. So see, it is doing all the stuff here. See, now Apache 2 not itself has done this. Okay, we did not found any of the files or folders, or earlier at least even after uninstalling it, we got the Apache 2 service status. We got some output because it found some kind of a files related to that one. Now even after purging, we deleted that also. Okay, now let me rerun this playbook again and then see what is going to happen. Okay, gathering the facts. Okay, now installing a httpd package, which is nothing but it is going to install and give you change. That is what my expectation is. Now let's see what is happening here. Yeah, it is taking a time means it's executing it. Let's wait to be have information from the playbook itself. Meanwhile, we can check whether the process is going or not here. See, it is installed. That's why it has been changed. Yeah, we got a confirmation from the this guy. See this? Yeah, these are all copied. That's why it is given a okay now. Okay, now let's check whether the file, whether it has been copied or not here. The path that we copied is etc Apache 2. Yeah, httpd conf file. The time is 244. The file which got created http.conf file is a 240. Okay, so here is, we can say this is recently copied with our playbook. Okay guys, this is how we will entirely execute a role. I mean, this is how we do create a role first, then we will write a playbooks here. Okay, now the thing is, what I want to tell you is, in a real time what we do is similarly Apache 2. Okay. Uh, so they will be writing a multiple roles like this. And then, for example, they would use a MySQL. They'll write a separate roles for MySQL installation. They'll use a separate role for Kafka. So if whatever they want to configure, what they do is they'll write a separate folder, I mean separate role for that, and then they'll use directly like this. For example, this Apache server is accepting of 5 variables. And what you do is, in this here itself, what you do is vars you would be defining under the vars you would be defining var1 colon var1 value, and then so you would be passing those variables like this. So currently our roles does not accepting, I mean, does not have a written such a way that it, I mean, we are not reading any variables from roles, right? So we are not using it, but in a real time we would be using that also. Okay, so which is nothing but you just declare here, and then you would be you'll keep that variable name within the expression. That's how we do call it here. Okay, so yeah, any questions, guys? Sharanya, Kiran, any questions so far? Because this is how we do create a roles itself. Okay, okay, that's cool. Thanks for confirmation. Kiran, I want a confirmation. Kiran, if you have been available. Okay, please let me know if you have done. So the next thing is we want to learn is Ansible Vault. Okay, so this is another important part, because why we say important is in every interview question they would definitely ask, because this is a part of a security or secrets or password handling in Ansible. So for now, what we have done is when we do execute or when we define our host file, we have given a username and password. Okay, and that is in the plain text format. We shouldn't do that. Or another way is we should encrypt it and then pass those values. Or you keep those secrets in a vault. A vault is nothing but a secure place or secure area. Same thing will apply here. So in that, by using that, what we have done is we will keep a couple of variables, like our secrets, passwords, API keys, API secret keys. Everything will keep under the walls thing, and then we will retrieve those keys from a vault itself. That is what we are going to do it. Okay, and mainly for handling different things here. Okay, before going that, I want to show you Galaxy, Ansible Galaxy. Okay, this is a see, Ansible Galaxy is a place where you can find a role. For example, we have created a role and we want to publish our role to someone. I mean, whoever want to use it. You have developed a role and you want to publish that role. This is the place where you can publish. That is a Galaxy. Okay, and for example, if we can also use roles which are written by someone. For example, let's go to the uh, cloud related roles. Here, these many. Cluster is another role by the DCOS guys. Kubernetes another role by this guy, and SS is another role from this guy. And host is by the another role which has the 419 downloads, and by the Lidra. Okay, so similarly, for your organization, if your organization is MNC and if they want to use it, or if they are contributing to the open source, what they do is they'll create a separate role for, and then they'll attach their organization name and then make available. Okay, so now let's see. I want to use this one. If I don't know how to use it, we can just click on it and then see how to use this. This is basically this collection aims at installing, configuring, and backupping the host. At this, as this is an independent collection, it can be released on its own release cadence. Moreover, the role it contains are updated independently. What does it mean is this particular role is handling how to install, configure, backupping the host. Host, I mean, host is another kind of a cloud provider which is very lightweight, like AWS. AWS is a cloud provider, right? Host is also another cloud provider which is very lightweight for installing and configuring. I mean, cloud provider and a tool basically. If you want to know, they have given a link. We can go ahead, but we don't require after this. For example, now let's say I want something related to AWS Now let's check, are there any AWS? Yes, this AWS, this role is written by Amazon guys. We can trust it. This AWS role is developed by this NetApp guys, and this AWS is done by the Ansible community team, and this AWS is developed by the Steam Spunks. A lot of people has developed the AWS related roles. Okay, now let's see. There is an individual guy who has developed a role, and then see AWS EC2. If you want to use that, you need to install with the pip3. Pip3 is another Python related one, because Ansible is working with that also. Okay, once you have installation, you have to export these keys, which is nothing but an access key and secret key, and you can install like Ansible Galaxy collection install this guy name Gaurav Gupta gtm.awscc2. This is how we need to install their role. Okay, so once you have done it in your playbook, this is how you have to use it. They required a role. The role name should be they have given, while the role name is EC2 host, and you have to pass couple of other parameters also. I mean, in our example, what we have done is we did not take any as an argument. We have did not take any of the arguments. But here, these guys require asking us to pass these many variables, which is nothing but a key, region, image ID, how many, and what tag and what port you want to be exposed, which is makes sense. So this is how you can use it, and they have mentioned you how you can this use this as a plugin. So yeah, even if you are able to write a role, and if you want to publish, you need to create a readme file and then publish into the Ansible Galaxy. Okay, this is what in our overall Galaxy is another a cloud I mean a cloud based web page, which where you can publish your own roles, and even you can utilize the existing roles here. Okay, this is about the Ansible roles and Galaxy. Okay, now the main concept, which is a very important and very last also, that is a Ansible Ansible Vault. Ansible Vault here. If you go to the Ansible Vault, there are a lot of things that we need to know. I mean, uh, there are a lot of use cases that we can find from the Ansible Vault itself. See here, you can do a file level encryption. You can find what else you can be encrypted, variables in encryption you can do, vault IDs and multiple vault passwords you can encrypt. You can create a files, you can edit the encrypted files. So a lot of things you can do this. Okay, so what we do is we will be writing a couple of things, like we will store some key, username and passwords in a vault, and then we will basically we will create a vault secrets and password, and then we will see how to retrieve those variables. This is the first thing, and next one is how to use those encrypted keys and passwords in our roles and playbook. This is what we are going to do as a terms of things. In a majorly, you need in a, if at all, if they ask you interview questions, they will ask you the use cases. What is the use case, which means what exact purpose of the use case, have you worked it? If you have worked, how to write a files in, I mean how to write a secrets variables inside a vault, how do you retrieve it, and how do you use in a playbook. These are the kind of a questions they would be asking you, if at all they ask any interview question under the vaults concept. And at the same time, we are going to use the same thing, I mean we are going to learn the same thing. Okay, and yeah, so basically I'll show you where it will work in a real time use case here. Okay, so in a playbook, I mean I'll just show you the diagram out of it. Okay, so here, see here, in the variables we just declared directly the variable name if it is without vault. Here we will be defining the variable. whenever we create any variable inside a vault, we would be getting a sum path. The sum path is nothing but a default location which are under etc ansible password world.yaml. Generally what we do is in a password world, for example username.txt or password.txt, if we mention those thing in a plain text, we need to provide those in the file path which are in a plain text. Instead of that, when we do create any secret inside a vault, we will be getting a one file. That file is nothing but a etc ansible the file name .yaml, and we will refer that way. Okay, so this is one way. And here, if you see here, another use case is in a host file. We have defined our server IP address and then Ansible username and then Ansible password. So, so when we are defining an Ansible password, we use the variable again here, win underscore pass within the expression. So this is how we do that. Okay. So this is another use case. We will do the things in a practical manner. Okay. And yeah, we will see tomorrow. And tomorrow is going to be the last class for the Ansible. And then we will start the new thing. Tomorrow we will be discussing the Ansible secrets walls, which will how to retrieve a secret variables and all the stuff in the Ansible itself. Okay, that's it from my today, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. Siranya, Kiran, do you have any questions on this? Okay, looks like we don't have. Um, can someone please confirm me, Kiran, Sharanya? Okay. Okay, cool. So if we don't have any questions, let's drop from this guy. Thanks, Kiran, for the confirmation. Okay. Sandeep, you can stop recording and then we'll see. Sandeep, can you be stay in a call for 4 minutes? Okay, guys, thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Bye.